Welcome to Upping Your Game. Joining me is Jack Landers, a veteran in operations, HR, and enterprise learning design, and a driving force behind large-scale performance and technology transformation across, I believe, multiple industries. Hey, Jack, welcome to Upping Your Game.
Hi, Steve. Thanks.
I think today we're going to be talking about confidence-based learning and readiness, and how this impacts how, for those who are listening, how you may be training, retraining, or assessing how people are ready for the work that they are doing. Are they, can they work accurately? Do they know what they're supposed to do properly? And, are they designed to do what they're supposed to do? So today, Jack's going to enlighten us on this. So, Jack, I got a couple of questions here, and I'm just going to start with it. All right. So,
okay.
How is readiness defined, though?
So we look at two measures to determine readiness. One is knowledge accuracy. That's not unusual. The second factor, however, is confidence. So we take a look at and are able to measure what a person's knowledge accuracy is in relation to the confidence they have in that knowledge. When we combine those two factors, we actually end up with a level of readiness to perform a task, a set of tasks, or over time, you can even determine the level of readiness to perform a job.
Okay, so what you're saying, just having that knowledge or knowing something is only half the equation then.
That's correct.
So why does readiness, it may sound like a rhetorical question, but why does readiness matter though?
Yeah. Well, the thing that we discovered over time, and I learned about confidence-based learning back in the 90s, the late 90s, and I actually had a consultant who became a friend and a mentor in this, and he actually studied confidence-based learning back in the 60s and 70s, and also was working with the Air Force through the RAND Corporation to determine how confidence-based learning could be applied in those scenarios.
So explain to us or to listeners, what is confidence-based learning?
Well, confidence-based learning it actually became a measurement of self-awareness or self-efficacy.
Okay. Self-awareness, all right.
Right. So the self-awareness is how aware is an individual in terms of their knowledge, but the confidence in that knowledge. And we know that knowledge and confidence impact performance. We hear about it every day, especially in sports, right?
Okay.
The tennis player lost his confidence. The other team has gained momentum. They've gained confidence in their ability to run the plays. And so from a learning perspective in business, the understanding of the level of knowledge and the level of confidence determining readiness will lead us to the probability that someone will perform well on the job. Someone may not know, so they're going to have a lot of different feelings about having doubts and being unconfident about what they're supposed to do. And there will be people who are overconfident in particular aspects of what they know. And when they get to the job, we find that there is a high likelihood that they will make mistakes on the job. So we can actually determine where people are likely to make mistakes.
Wow. So I'm assuming you have a way of doing this. Do you have a survey or something, or how do I, measure or know confidence is being applied, or I'm confident in the right things? So how about that, though, right?
Right. So we've developed what we call the Adaptive Edge Readiness Enablement platform. And what we look at there is, we actually have a patent pending on several aspects of this platform, but we have what we call confidence sliders or probability sliders.
Okay.
So that you can look at a scenario or a question, respond to that, and you have four choices. So those four choices, you can manipulate these sliders to indicate your level of confidence on A, B, C, or D, for example. you can say, well, I know it's not A. So you take that slider all the way to the left and it takes that particular response out of the picture. Now you've
Okay.
got 3 responses left. Now you can leave it like that, which would be expressing doubt or
Okay.
essentially saying, I don't really know what the answer is. You could
Oh,
also eliminate B and say that I believe it's C or D.
okay.
So
And have
then
people
you're
got it
at a
wrong?
50% probability that one of those answers is correct. And that would say because you're able to eliminate 2 incorrect answers, that
Yeah.
you would actually have doubts, but you're still able to eliminate 2 incorrect answers. So the solution is very close at hand because the way our platform works, we're actually going to give you the correct answer and some additional information about those 2 responses. And we would say that you're somewhat informed because you were
Okay.
able to eliminate 2 wrong answers.
And so the person who really knows it removes all 3 and it's correct. Have
Right.
people
They
actually
can,
removed stuff and been
yeah,
wrong though?
right. They can take and move slider C all the way to 100%.
Okay.
And they say C is the answer. And if they are correct, then they have knowledge accuracy and they have confidence in the correct answer.
Okay.
If they selected D and moved it to 100%, we would say that they do not have knowledge accuracy, but they are confident 100% in the wrong answer. That is where we can predict mistakes, especially when you have groupings of answers that are,
Very
answers that
similar.
they have provided over a number of questions. If they are overconfident in that number, then they're going to make a mistake on the job if you just leave them to their own devices.
Okay, so it sounds like the platform's pretty good. So what measurable impact have you seen in this confidence-based learning platform? And what kind of data has it given you or provided to the organization?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say response from the participants is really good. They make comments like, gee, I thought I knew that and I don't. So they're beginning to think about their responses and they're beginning to
Okay.
think about, well, how did I get that wrong? That's a very good place to be in terms of learning what the correct thing is. So for the participants, that self-awareness that occurs is very good and motivational for learning.
So that
From a
actually
business,
helps. So
yeah,
let me cut in here. So that actually helps improve learning and performance, right?
absolutely. Yeah. And if you give them the ability, which our platform does, to access the correct information right away, there's not a better time for them to actually get to that information and to learn the correct response.
Well,
Yeah. So
maybe, yeah. So
the,
I just,
the
yeah, carry on.
the business results. One
Yeah.
of the things from our pilot programs and the use of it, we've discovered that when you hire an employee who has experience in the industry, let's take a restaurant. If I worked at
Okay.
McDonald's and I wanted to go to Pizza Hut, we found that the response that they give, they can eliminate as much as 50% of the training. That is, if they did inventory at McDonald's, they probably understand
Know how to
inventory
do
at Pizza
inventory.
Hut.
Yeah.
But we can
Okay.
determine exactly where any gaps are if they exist. So we found that they test out at 50%. So imagine you've got a supervisor position and you have an employee that comes from McDonald's and you need to get them trained and your program is 1 year, you can essentially get them through the program in
Wow.
6 months.
Yeah, that's saving a lot of time though.
And it's very, very agreeable with the employee because most employees do not
Yeah.
like having to go through training and experiences in terms of
Stuff
what
they
they're
know.
already
Yeah.
aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially the experience. So before we go any further, Jack, so what's your background and help our listeners kind of figure out, and how did you develop this platform though? Because you seem to know a lot about this whole area. So tell them who you are and how do you decide to get this platform going?
Well, a number of years ago, I won't say how many, I started out in operations. And so I have a lot of operational experience in business. And from that experience, I moved into HR and into training, mainly as a training manager. I train people, and I love developing people. I had a particular project for an international company, and one of the things that we wanted to do was something different about measuring the effectiveness of the learning system that we were going to be putting in place. I was doing some research and I came across this idea of confidence-based learning. And as I began talking to people about it, I found a gentleman by the name of Dr. Amir Shuford. He's one of 4 scientists that really work with confidence-based learning, and he was working on a project at Texas Instruments, and I had a contact there. So we got together and developed a relationship and began using his applied probability technology to create the front end and the back end, that is, doing assessments on the front end about what people knew about different tasks and so forth that they would need to perform in a job, take them through the training, and then do a post assessment. And we could see where actually people increased their level of knowledge and confidence. And we also found places where people began to be a little confused, let's say, and they would be overconfident in the wrong answer after coming out of the training. And we were actually able to calibrate, by asking, why are you coming out with these misunderstandings? And as we began to use the surveys to check on what the knowledge level and confidence of the instructors were, we found gaps in their knowledge. So they were actually training the wrong information or showing them the wrong way to do something.
So help me here. So what makes Adaptive Edge, or your survey, your platform, different from traditional assessments and survey? Because people will, assess. They say they assess their learning and all that kind of stuff. So what makes yours different, though?
We're able to bring to light the level of confidence that people have, and we found several things that happen there. As they become self-aware, they're more motivated to learn, as we already mentioned. But by developing this confidence, it gives management great insight into a number of different areas. For example, where people are likely to make mistakes. Where you have high-risk jobs, say in construction, or
how about the medical field, though?
Medical field. As a matter of fact, there have been studies done in the medical field, and just a quick example, they use traditional training, they use confidence-based learning as a process for technicians, and what they found is that the diagnosis improved by 19%.
Oh, wow.
Comparing the 2 training approaches.
All right. So,
when you think about technicians making a mistake or a doctor making a mistake in terms of an MRI, result, that to me seemed pretty significant. So we have a number of different examples like that.
So why hasn't then confidence-based learning been mainstream until now or something?
Yeah, great question. It is difficult it has been in the past difficult to measure. There are examples where you can have a question, respond to that question, and then get, you have like little radio buttons and you can check how confident are you. Very confident, somewhat confident, not confident at all. So it's a very manual process, and the calculations of all of the results are somewhat difficult. Now, some of that is being more automated now, but our platform kind of jumps ahead of all of that, and it does the calculations for knowledge accuracy, confidence, and then it takes that result, and using some of our proprietary calculations, we're able to come up with this idea of readiness.
So I'm assuming technology these days and your platform makes this approach really scalable, right, for organizations?
Yeah, very scalable. And there are a number of benefits associated with it. In the past, there was a lot of manual process to it. There wasn't the networking. I mentioned I worked with this back in the 90s. and the technology just wasn't there. So, fast forward 25 years, really we're limited by our innovation and creativity to do more with it.
So if somebody is really interested in exploring this, how can organizations begin to implement confidence-based learning, or what should they do, or how do they reach out to you guys, or kind of enlighten us though, Jack?
Yeah, contact me directly at 214-616-4618.
All right. Well, everybody, if you're interested in confidence-based learning and maybe the adaptive edge readiness survey that you can do with your people, the information is down below and a link to Jack's website and his direct contact. Jack, thank you so much for enlightening us today. And we hope that you help a lot more people become more confident in what they do. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Thank you.